Precious Jones is an illiterate teen beaten by her mother nightly and raped by her father regularly, invisible to all around her, including authorities and the school system. Overshadowed by Harlem's bad reputation, she finally meets someone who can change her life, a teacher at an alternative school. Through her second pregnancy with her father's child, Precious tackles her life and takes control by escaping the people who brought her into the world, her parents. Through her new school and Miss Rain, Precious learns to read and begins to write herself a new future. Sapphire was raised in a house with an army dad and a mom. At age 8, Sapphire was sexually abused by her father, and shortly after, her parents divorced. Without her mother in her life, Sapphire dropped out of high school to move to California and receive a GED. After college, she lived a portion of her life in Harlem, teaching reading and writing to adults and teens. My fosterization comes from when Foster says that a communion doesn't have to be holy or even decent. The anti-communions and push are strewn throughout the whole novel. Precious is constantly forced to make her mother food, even though they're both obese. If she doesn't make the food, she's beaten. When she does make the food, and after they eat it, she's raped or molested by her mother. Her mother also forces her to eat the food, putting it on her plate, and if she doesn't eat it, she's beaten again. So the anti-communions prove that the emotional distance between them is unlikely for most mother-daughter relationships. The anti-communions also prove that Precious's mom is a vampire figure. After she feeds her, she molests her, and this takes all the energy out of Precious. This is her mother's way of controlling her. This is the only thing she can control in Precious's life. The mother cannot control that Precious has had 2 of her husband's children, and she cannot control what Precious does with her life. The only thing she can control is how she treats Precious, and she chooses to do that horribly. This makes her a vampire. Every time she molests Precious, she sucks the energy out of her and transfers it to herself. The main literary element in Push is characterization. This is done through Precious and all of the other characters. Precious has a dialect unlike most characters in a book. She's illiterate, and the author uses that. She says, "My daughter got Down syndrome." After Precious had her first baby, she found out that she had Down syndrome, and she doesn't even know how to say it. She also calls her a mongoloid instead of actually giving her a name. At one point, she also says, "I look good, smell good, fresh, clean." This gives Precious the sense of who she really is. It's rare for her to look good and feel clean, and that's normal for most of us. The other characterization is done through the mom versus the dad. It's a power struggle, but it's twisted. They have a struggle to see who can treat Precious the worst. This also makes them both vampires and adds to the mom's already vampire qualities. Miss Rain, who changes Precious's life, is characterized through differences. Her real name is Blue Rain, and she's also a lesbian. She proves to Precious that the differences in life are what actually make you unique. On the literary scale, I would give Push a 3. The novel is largely commercial in a sense that there is not much to be analyzed. I enjoyed the book, but I am surprised that it's on the AP Lit reading list. On the readability scale, I would give the novel a 3. I enjoyed reading it, but it is very graphic, and the narrator is illiterate, and so the book was written that way. However, it adds to the characterization. I recommend this book for a personal read, but it is not at all literary. If you are looking for something to analyze, don't pick up Push. If you want a typical happy commercial read, I would also not recommend it. However, Push is the most accurate account from an abused and molested teen that you will ever find. Sapphire holds nothing back and gives the reader the truth based on her own experience. If I had to pick one word to describe the book, it would be raw.